Hello. This week we are talking about Iceland. So Iceland is, let's see, we're going to look, here we are. This is the United States. We're up in Washington, that's our state. There's Canada, Greenland, and Iceland, this little guy right here. So that is what we're talking about today. So first of all, let me tell you about some toys that children played with long ago. Bone toys. Children that lived in Iceland long ago didn't have access to many toys. Instead, they would make their own using animal bones and shells. They would pretend these bones were animals and usually keep them in a special box, and I don't know how to say this word at all, called a Valuscrin, maybe? I'll show you the box and the word if you can see it. Oh, maybe not. That looks pretty blurry. There's the word there. Nope. Well, here is a box with some bones in it and some shells, if you can see that. So this would have been an actual box from long ago with toys, bones and shells that the kids would play with. And the different bones would be different types of farm animals. I also have a picture of the Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis, if you can see that. And you can see in Iceland, best in the fall and winter, you can actually see those lights in the sky. Those are pretty cool. So a little bit about Iceland. Iceland is nicknamed Land of Fire and Ice because it is icy, obviously, but also because it has volcanoes. It has the most hot springs and volcanic vents of any other country. So hot springs are, if you don't know, pools of water that are heated by just the heat of being around the volcano. So like a hot tub, but outside. And the volcanic vents are gases coming up from the earth. So it can be very cold, but also like you could be in warm water in the middle of snow and ice. There are also a lot of earthquakes, but rarely much damage. Depending on where you live in Iceland, it snows between 40 and 100 days per year. So in a year, we have 365 days. So if 100 of those it snowed, that's a lot of your year. Now here in this area, well, in the Seattle area, we don't get very much snow at all. In other parts of Washington, more, but still not 100 days a year. So very cold up there. Let's see, we talked about the Aurora Borealis. Iceland is not a very diverse country. 60 to 80% of the people are Nordic, and most of the rest are from Scotland and Iceland. So sometimes we talk about how countries have, like in the United States, we have people from a whole bunch of different countries that come and live in the United States. And that is not true for Iceland. Iceland, the people that live there are from there or just the surrounding areas. So you wouldn't get very many people like from China or Japan or even Russia or the United States that would come to Iceland. So that's just an interesting little fact. Let's talk about the animals. Here is a picture of the Arctic fox. Cute little guy. So the Arctic fox was the only native mammal in Iceland. So all of the other animals that came to Iceland came with settlers or people in ships. They would bring farm animals with them, sheep, cows, chickens, things like that to help provide food. But the only mammal that lived there originally was the Arctic fox. And also on those ships, mice and rats tagged along, which they often did on ships back in those days. So There are mice and rats. Later, people brought over reindeer and mink, which are a type of weasel. And, oh, my little fact about the Arctic fox. The Arctic fox can survive temperatures as low as negative 48 degrees Fahrenheit. So we talked about this before. So 32 degrees Fahrenheit is when you can get snow, it can freeze, and then you still go down, 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 down to 0, and then you start going negative, negative 1, 2, 3. So negative 48 degrees is very cold. So the Arctic fox can survive in that cold of weather. And then one other little thing that I wanted to talk about is Iceland is a fishing community. They survived on fish as a main part of their diet for years, and it still is a big part of the diet in Iceland. A lot of fish there. So those are the few things I have about Iceland. Let me know if you have any more questions or anything. Thank you.